Yo, what is going on, you guys? Bashtian here, and today I'm coming at you with a deck that is coming out very soon in about a week or so, which is going to be the Dark World deck. So, Dark Worlds, of course, let me go ahead and rephrase that. Dark Worlds have been around for quite some time. We got a revolutionized, more updated, modern, more shiny version of the Dark World structure deck in the very cleverly worded and cleverly titled structure deck Dark World. So, we don't have to go too hard on the name, but I do want to go ahead and bring this up to you guys. Dark Worlds do look like a really interesting deck. I know I posted a tier list yesterday. I do not believe it's going to be competitively viable at the current moment, just because of all the interruptions that deal with the graveyard, things like that at the current moment. But after this format, this is going to be a good time to go ahead and start testing out the deck, and it could potentially do a lot of things here in the near future, with it being able to combo off extremely well and being able to put out some pretty crazy boards itself. I think this deck has the potential. The potential is there. This is just not the format for it. But with that being said, guys, go ahead and leave a like on the video, subscribe for more, guys. I'm going to be posting out a lot of deck profiles this upcoming weeks, so definitely make sure you stay tuned for that. Without further ado, let's get right into the deck profile. So starting off with the monsters, guys. I know you guys have pretty much already have the whole deck list right here for you guys, but I want to go ahead and go a little bit more in depth. So we have Rainbow, Supreme Overlord of the Dark World. So Rainbow is one of the newer cards coming out of the structure deck. It's a really good card, actually. But you don't want to play more of one, just because it tends to be a bit of a brick. So with Dark Worlds, of course, you're trying to discard as much as possible. This guy does a lot, especially summon himself from the graveyard, searches you a level 5 or higher Dark World monster. It special summons level 4 Dark World monster from your deck or graveyard or whatever it does. It just does a lot for the deck itself, adds a lot of consistency to the deck, adds a lot of recursion to the deck, adds in additional extenders to the deck. So overall, this card is fantastic. But the fusion monster, which we just got as well from the structure deck, Grapha Dragon Overlord of the Dark World, I don't know if that's going to be the TCG name, but regardless, the fusion monster really just needs the original Grapha Dragon Lord of the Dark World. So playing 3 and 3 of these would mean you're playing 6 level 8 monsters, in which case I would probably recommend playing Trade-In your deck if that's the route you want to go. But Grapha, you definitely want to go ahead and play a 3 of. Rainbow, 1 or 2 I think is viable. 3 is just a bit too cloggy for the moment. But 3 Grapha Dark Lord. Really, it was boss monster back then, still the boss monster now, just so we get a more the more evolved version, if you will, in the fusion card. 2 Silva. 3 is too cloggy, 1 is not enough, 2 is just right. Being not once per turn with this card is actually insane. You can just keep discarding and special summoning and then adding it back to your hand. You discard it again, special summon it again. Silva is a really fantastic card, a phenomenal extender for the deck as well. Brow the Huntsman, just to get an additional draw off your discards as well. Again, not once per turn, so just keep going and keep going and keep going. So this deck just has no real limit as to what it can actually do. Some of the newer cards do have a once per turn effect, so do be aware of that, but the old cards, of course, they don't, so it gives you a lot more freedom in that sense. I played just 1 copy of the Pearl Hermit of the Dark World. Doesn't really do that much for the deck, but it is nice to have in the event you get into a bit of a pickle. Really, all it does is a pseudo Monster Reborn, searchable Monster Reborn, I guess, for the deck once it's discarded, so you do have that going for yourself as well. Next, play 3 copies of Genta, the Gateman of the Dark World. So Gateman, Genta, it's a really good card. So basically, it is a terraforming for the deck. So it immediately adds you the Gate to the Dark World to your side of the field. I mean, to your hand, which is fantastic. But if it's banished, so if you use the fusion spell, banish this card along with the Grapha, you get an additional effect where if you control a Dark World, you can actually special summon this card once per turn, and it's really good because it is a level 4 monster, so you can easily go into Abyss Dweller if you're going first. If you have another level 4 extender, which we do play quite a few, which is actually what makes a lot of more sense with this deck. So you're pretty much going to be going into rank 8s and rank 4s. So with the rank 4 toolbox, is really just going to be Abyss Dweller Turbo with it. So you're going to be making that pretty consistently as well. But it's really what the I guess end combo is, or what you're trying to achieve is you're trying to activate the fusion spell, which is Dark World Ascension, and banish potentially the Genta and the Grapha. Again, not get too complicated, but you're able to do this so frequently with the deck. It's actually really crazy. So next, I'm gonna play 2 Snow Unlit of the Dark World. Snow, while being a good card, I don't think it's one that you want to go ahead and maximize at 3 of, just because there's other cards that we need to go ahead and play to make sure that we can go ahead and discard. So The Dark World monsters cards themselves are really good, but they do not discard themselves, or they don't have any effect that involves necessarily discarding, or at least not all of them do. Majority of them don't, I should say. So that is something to take into consideration. You don't want to maximize out on a whole bunch of Dark World monsters, because you need, of course, the danger cards to be able to go ahead and discard for effects. So, starting off with the first Danger monster, we're going to go with Danger Bigfoot. I want to go ahead and play this guy at 2-of. I do prefer the alternative art version, so it's really cool as well. 3 Nessie, of course. Double Mothman. Mothman being one of the better ones because it is a level 4. But again, 3 is just a bit too much. Nessie is just better. 1 Danger Chupacabra, again, level 4. 1 Tsuchinoko, 1 Jackalope as well, really good cards. I do play the Sephiroth the Elite as well. I did see this in a few other deck profiles, which I definitely got inspired out of. So with Sephiroth the Elite, again, it's just another level 4 extender. You can easily special summon back onto your field. If not, it's a dark monster as well, so it has so much synergy with the deck. So really good card to go ahead and have. And the last card of the deck is Shaddoll Beast. You're going to be seeing a lot of cards via card effect to the graveyard, so why not Shaddoll Beast and get additional +1, you know. I have considered playing App Clone in here and Shaddoll Schism to eventually go into a Shaddoll Winda, but it's just a bit too much right now. I might consider taking this card out and putting another danger card in here, but I'm liking the way it's working right now. No complaints. It is a lot less bricky than I really thought it was going to be, so that I'll give it that. It's a lot less bricky than I thought it was going to be. Next for the spells, guys, we played 3 copies of Gates of the Dark World. Basically what it allows you to do is gives all your fiend type monsters an additional 300 attack and defense, which is already a nice little attack boost, considering Dark World monsters are not necessarily weak per se, so they're already giving them an additional attack boost based on its already high attack. Is really good. But once per turn, you can banish a fiend type monster from your graveyard, discard a fiend type monster, and then draw a card. So while you are banishing a fiend type monster from your graveyard, it's already in your graveyard, so you're not really losing out on much. You're discarding, which is not a cost, which again gives you more advantage, and then you draw a card, which again gives you more advantage as well. So you're really, this is a +2 essentially, is the way I see it, or +3 if you want to really, you know, if you banish something that's noteworthy, like for example the Genta. If it's banished, you can special summon it, as long as you control Dark World, so that's really good. Next, we have Dark World Puppet. So this is a card that I've seen play at 1, 2, but very few actually play at 3. I think this is definitely going to be a 3-of, just because it targets up to 3 cards in any graveyard and banishes them. So this is fantastic against your Ishizu tier limit matchups. Being able to activate this Chain Link 10 or 11. You can actually activate this and banish all their tier limit cards or their Ishizu cards, whatever it might be, and then they don't get those effects. With the Ishizu cards, they still will, but the tier limits, you can go ahead and target those, banish them, and you get that much more effect. Then you discard a monster, which then starts your whole chain of plays over again. So that is really good. Absolutely love Dark World Puppet. I think this definitely has to be a 3-of, just with the current format that we're currently in. Next, 2 copies of Dark World Ascension. Dark World Ascension is going to be your fusion spell for it. You obviously have to banish a Grapha and another dark monster, so really easy to do as well. I do play the 1 Dark World Library. I think this is a fun card as well. So this also gives you a free discard of a Dark World monster each of your main phases, so it does give you that additional bit of consistency by being able to discard your cards. That's the main reason why I want to go ahead and play this card. Next, 3 copies of the Beginning of the End. A really beautiful card, honestly. I know it's very dark, not too much to it, but the overall artwork itself I really enjoy. So if you have 7 or more dark monsters in your graveyard, you can banish 5 dark monsters from your graveyard, draw 3 cards. So basically this is the pseudo super duper pot of greed. All you need is dark monsters, which we're only playing dark monsters, and all of them are getting discarded. So you're pretty much gonna go nothing but plus with playing this card. 3, I've been thinking it might be a bit too much, but there hasn't been the time that comes up where I have this card and I don't feel like I'm in a position where I can get more darks in the graveyard, so I can continue plussing off this as well. And to round off the main deck, guys, play 1 copy of Card Destruction. Is this the riskiest card in the deck? Yes, because you're discarding your opponent's entire hand, which going up against Ishizu's Hirame is the riskiest thing you can ever do. But I will say that your effects go off as well, so you do gain a lot of advantage from it. This is the one card I'm a little iffy on because, yeah, like I said, it gives your it can give your opponent a lot of advantage as well, but it also gives you a lot of knowledge of what your opponent is playing, so you can go ahead and set up your plays accordingly as well. And that's going to be it for the main deck, guys. 40 card main deck. Now onto the extra deck. We played 2 copies of the Fusion, Grapha, Dragon, Overlord of the Dark World. This is a crazy good card for Dark Worlds. I didn't expect something like this could even happen for them. So basically, when your opponent activates a normal spell, trap, or a monster effect, you can make that effect become your opponent discards 1 card, which again, just gets your whole plays going as well. If this Fusion summon card in his owner's control leaves the field by an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Grapha from that is banished or in your graveyard. Then each player with a hand discards 1 card. So it is giving your opponent a discard, which, like I said, in this day and age in Yu-Gi-Oh might be bad, but you also get a free, essentially, Omni Negate to whatever your opponent wants, and not necessarily negate, but is making your opponent's effect become your opponent discards 1 card, which then you discard a card, and then you can go ahead and do other stuff based on what you discard. If you discard a Grapha, you get the pop and things like that. So really good card as well. For the Xyz, I have 1 number 60 Juggernauts of Timeless. Just again, consistency is key. You're going to be having a lot of level 4s on the field. Abyss Dweller, pretty obvious there. Number 90 Galaxy Eyes Photon Lord is a great card. Basically, you're not going to be activating any of the photon effects, but when an opponent's monster effect activates, quick effect, you can detach a material from this card, negate that monster's effect. But if it was a Galaxy card, you can go ahead and destroy that card. Obviously, it's not going to be a Galaxy card, but it gives you a free negation on your opponent's turn, so it's really good for the number 90. Then I play also number 38 for spell negations, and then on top of that, we're playing the Double A Zeus just to be safe and make sure that we're able to go ahead and wipe my opponent's board. In the event we're not playing against a Tier Shizu deck, then it gives us a lot of advantage. Why not play it if we're going to be focusing on Xyz summoning as well? Next for the links, we played double Saryuja Skull Dread. So Saryuja, I didn't understand why Dark World was able to play this card, and then I started doing some test hands. And like I said before, you play a lot of extenders in this deck to the point where it is ridiculous the amount of times you can go ahead and summon Skull Dread in 1 turn. Like, obviously you can summon twice, no problem. A 3rd time might be a little bit pushing it, but is something that you can do. It's not the most efficient play, don't get me wrong, but this deck has the power to do so, which is actually in and of itself impressive enough. So definitely want to go ahead and play double Skull Dread, so you can go ahead and fix your hand. After that, we play 1 copy of Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker is still AG in the deck, still one of the better Link monsters in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh right now. I believe it's also getting a reprint as well, don't quote me on that one, but I believe it is. 1 Appaloosa, Nightmare, the Nightmare Package, Unicorn, and Phoenix. Phoenix and Unicorn are going to be the part the most important at the current time, just because with Macrocosmos and D-Fissure, we're running rampant. As soon as the December Banlist hits, these are essentially going to be your outs to those cards. 1 Muckracker. 1 Muckracker from the Underworld is a funny card, but it does give you a free discard of a Fiend monster to be able to special summon something from the graveyard. So it does give you these things as well. Or discard a card, not necessarily a Fiend monster, but I mean, you discard a Dark World, you gain advantage, you special summon from the graveyard. So it just does a lot for the deck as well. Overall, really good card for this specific deck. I think Muckracker is one of those cards where it really just depends on what deck you're playing. This is good in of course, this. Maybe BA, maybe DDD, decks like that. So specifically Fiend-based decks, you know. But really good as well. And then to wrap it off, we got to play the 1 IP Masquerade. Now let's go ahead and make sure that we buff up our Appaloosa, be able to special summon Unicorn on our opponent's turn, you know, things of that nature. But that is going to be it for my Dark World deck profile for you guys. I obviously added a lot more cards than just what's coming in the structure deck itself. The structure deck itself, it's nice, don't get me wrong, but it's going to need a lot of additional pieces in order to make it work more consistently. The structure deck has a lot of, again, new effects, new stronger cards for the deck, but it doesn't really do much to boost the consistency, and that's where you need to go ahead and add a few more danger cards, add a lot more consistency from the extra deck as well. So these are things you're gonna have to keep in mind if this is something that you guys want to play. But if you guys do enjoy these videos, go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, guys. Overall, I've been having a lot of fun with this deck. I'm not taking this to any regional or YCS anytime soon. Like I said, this is gonna be a very good deck potentially in the future. It has all of the foundation is definitely there, but I think we're just way too graveyard focus at the moment to allow a deck like this to do even better. For example, if we were playing a format where the best hand traps were Effect Veiler, Imperm, you know, when we were in the Sword Soul, format, then I think the Dark World strategy could then elevate itself to that next level. But with D-Shifter, Macro Cosmos, D-Fissure, and all these other Bestial and everything that hits the graveyard, I just do not think this is going to be the format for it. But overall, very fun deck. Very much enjoyed playing it. Alright guys, I think I've pretty much done my outro a few times now, so I'll go ahead and see you guys in the next one.